I've been a teacher for 30 years, a parent for 28 years, and according to my wife, a child for 55 years. And I'm only 54 years old. Even after all of these years, it never ceases to amaze me, the power of our words and the influence of those words have on a child. When I was a student, I eventually realized I wasn't going to be the brightest crayon in the box. After my grade 6 teacher exposed my below average marks to my parents, he said, "There is good news. At least we know he's not cheating." Those words were spoken 42 years ago. Words that I still remember. I want you to take a moment and think of words that were spoken to you when you were a child. Now think about how many years ago those words were spoken. Raise your hand if those words were spoken more than 20 years ago. How about more than 30 years ago? More than 40? How about 50? You see, like you, our children remember certain words, whether they're positive or negative. I truly believe with every being of my body that every child has a gift. And our job is to use our words to allow them to discover and foster that gift. Matt was 15 years old when he came to my class. The year before, he wasn't in school. Spent most of his time on the streets, being told that he would never amount to anything. He was a boy of few words. His two favorite? "What's up?" All my students had to deliver a speech. When it was Matt's turn to deliver his, he walked up to the front of the classroom, pulled out his piece of paper, looked at his classmates and said, "What's up?" Looked down at his paper and began his speech. Why we should legalize marijuana. I remember feeling extremely grateful that the principal did not walk into my classroom at that time. I allowed Matt to speak. And I quickly realized that he had a gift for speaking. Heck, he almost had me wanting to try marijuana. When I sat down with Matt to discuss his speech, I told him I never tried marijuana. He looked at me with all sincerity and said, "Dude, you should have." But during that conversation, I made a point of saying these words, "Matt, you have a gift for speaking. You should do it more often." He smiled, shrugged his shoulders. After he left my classroom that year, Matt became an entrepreneur. He grew and sold his own marijuana. But then he graduated to becoming a drug dealer, drug user. Got high on cocaine, came down on heroin. Last I heard, he was 6 foot tall, weighed no more than 100 pounds. And then he disappeared. A couple of years later, late at night, my phone rings. "Hello?" And on the other end, I hear, "What's up?" He couldn't wait to share with me that he'd been off the drugs for 11 months, 3 days, 5 hours. He said, "Mr. Grondin, I'm graduating from high school, and my peers voted me valedictorian of my graduating class, and I have to prepare a speech. And I remember the words you spoke to me 4 years ago, that I had a gift for speaking." Words that he remembered. He said, "Mr. Grondin, will you help me?" Of course I will help you. After he delivered that speech, he received an instant standing ovation from his graduating class. You see, the most important words we could ever speak to a child are words to help them discover and foster a gift so that our children can dream using that gift. And if they pursue that dream using that gift, then we will have given them hope. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are words worthy for our children to remember. Thank you.